Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Amber Nestor with TennesseeLandAndHomeStore.com. In this video, we're going to explore some drone footage of the property I have for sale at 425 Ashe Cabin Hollow Road, Harriman, Tennessee, Roane County. We're going to click through the Realtor.com photo gallery. That way you can have in mind the property lines, where the home is at, placed on the property in relation to those property lines, where the private driveway is at in relation to the property lines, and where the wooded acreage is at in relation to the cleared acreage. So we're going to take a closer look at the property line diagram here. Now we're taking a bit of a closer look. Hopefully you're able to see the placement of the mouse pointing on the screen. You can see the rooftop of the primary structure, the home. You can see that you drive approximately 300 feet. You can see that you drive approximately 300 feet up the private gravel driveway before arriving at the front of the home. The driveway passes the primary home. The carport is to the left of the driveway. The clearing is large and expands several hundred feet behind the home. But then what you'll notice from the drone footage is that all of this acreage that branches off to the right, if you're standing facing the home and then standing in the backyard of the home, branches off to the right and also branches off to the back, is quite vast. So again, roughly 300 feet to get to the front of the home, and then from the back of the home, another 300 feet or more cleared in one big long strip, and then all of this vast acreage of wooded area that's mostly gently rolling to very gently rolling. Awesome topography. That rolling topo rolls from front to back. It also rolls from side to side, repeat in a repeating pattern. So we'll get into that more here in just a second, but hopefully you have a good understanding of the property now. You're going to notice on the right-hand side of the acreage, the neighbor's rooftop over here, which is somewhat parallel in placement to the primary subject property here. Um, and yeah, so those are some key indicators. Also, when we are flying the drone overhead, you will notice some structures near the back of the neighbor's property on the left. And those are a good landmark because the back left pin for the subject property for sale is proximal to that back structure there. Okay, so now we are back on the drone footage and you have those points of reference to keep in mind. And again, here is the primary home and you can see to the right of it is the neighbor's home on the right. This footage was captured close to sunset this evening, July 28th, 2026. The surrounding properties that wrap around the subject property, the property that's for sale, are really beautiful. Most of the structures are very well spaced out away from the subject property. There's lots of trees encapsulating the perimeter border of the subject property, and it makes for wonderful privacy. There's a few privacy gaps here on the left-hand side, but those could be remedied um, selecting selecting some trees that are fast growing and then layering those and integrating those with some native and natural trees. Some that are tall, some that are medium, some that are shorter. Maybe put some dogwoods in the front that's closer to the inside of your yard. That way you can enjoy those spring blooms, things like that, getting creative. If it's super important to you to have a perfectly private tree line, there's lots of ways you can achieve that quickly. So from this angle here, you can see those structures I was telling you about earlier. I pointed out these kind of mental anchors, how you could see on the neighbor's property to the left, there was a structure towards the back of their property, and that the back property line on the back left of the subject property was a pin right around this area here. So all the way across here and off to the side to the right extends the acreage that is part of the subject property. So kind of try to picture those property lines. Now we're just flying the drone up super high above the property. I think it was around 120 meters up, somewhere roughly around there, pretty high up in the air, doing a 360, just letting you guys see what the topography is kind of like from a bird's eye view in this general area of Roane County. There's so much beauty in this region, and it's just gorgeous. At this point here, you're looking at Ash Cabin Hollow Road, and across the street from the house and the driveway, way up hidden on this hilltop across the way, there's a house. And if you walk to the backyard, the back of the cleared yard space for the subject property, the property we're talking about today that's for sale, you can see from that angle this house off in the distance. It's kind of a neat, point of view. So we're spinning back around now, looking back towards the backyard, and then over to the left, and you can see these main roadways back over this way here. These beautiful mountain ranges and ridge lines, which Roane County is famous for. Now we're looking down towards the acreage and then the cleared strip on the left of the acreage. It was a little bit windy, and you can see the treetops are all kind of swaying. It was very pretty. I wasn't sure how good the footage was going to turn out, but it turned out pretty good. The angle of the sun, when the sun is setting, sun rises in the east, sets in the west. When you're standing in the front yard on the front porch and the sun is setting, it's almost as though it's setting directly in front of the front porch, across the street, and passing behind the hill that's across the street. It had a really beautiful golden glow, which would enter in through the front windows of the home at that time of day. And you can see how that glow is kind of laying into the backyard. So much of the cleared space is flat to gently rolling. The well is right over here. There's the top of the carport and the animal enclosure on the end. We're gonna have this burn pile burned off. I might have mentioned that earlier. There's some little steps where this section has kind of like a downward hill section here. On the left side, there is a big row of dogwood trees, which we are going to see. There's a cluster of them here, and then there's some more down here. This is looking towards the back of the long strip of opening that's cleared. This is looking towards the left border of the property. This was the area I was talking about where you can see some of the beautiful neighboring yard, and there's fencing that separates the two properties for the full length of the left side of the property. Also, the front right-hand side of the property has fencing, and I think the fencing might extend completely around the whole property line, but I cannot remember for certain, to be quite honest. I know that the seller discussed that with me, but I don't want to accidentally give you a wrong detail. I think he might have said that it does, but I can't really remember for sure. Over If you come visit the property and you go to try to locate the property lines, over here off to the side, you will see some large metal stakes that mark the branching off section of the acreage into the woods. And they have like um, bright colors spray painted on them. You can't miss them. They're very easy to find. You can also utilize a map like Google Maps on your smartphone while you're out there. And as you zoom in, you'll see where suddenly light gray lines start to appear on the screen, and you're able to see where those property lines are in real time as you're walking the property. The little glowing blue dot represents where your phone is located out on the earth, and as you're walking around, it will follow you and you will see the property lines and you will see where you are. Now, that works pretty well out here at this property because it has a great cell signal. Personally, I have Verizon, so if you have Verizon, you should get a similar result to me. If you have a different carrier, I can't guarantee, what your signal will be like. Probably similar though. Um, Sometimes when you are navigating though, that method will not work on every property, but it does work quite well on this property. The I'm gonna back up just a bit, or well, there we go. That is the wellhead, and if you lift the top block there, you will see the well. So, and then there's some like electrical mechanisms that were hooked up to the well. The well used to be the primary water source for the property. It's disconnected right now. The well is a bonus feature. Public water is totally hooked up to this house and all of its plumbing. So here I was attempting to kind of give you a chance to peek in into the woods, into the tree line, so that you could see a little bit better how gently rolling the land lays within the tree line. At the very back right, it's the most gentle, and then if you were to walk around the property starting at the back, or sorry, the back left, at the back left, it's the most gentle, and if you continued towards the back right and wrap around, it rolls more and more, but it still has multiple places where the left to right rolling has these big wide openings that you could just if you remove the trees, you could just drive right up in there, no problem. So I definitely think there's the potential to have a lot of different home sites. Zoning has indicated in writing confirmation that this property allows you to attempt to have up to 2 homes per every acre, and with 7.75 acres, maybe potentially up to 15 home sites in total. Again, everything is pending on you applying for those permits and things. But it definitely seems to me like that potential might be there. So this is looking down about 300 feet of driveway towards the public paved road where the home is located, and you can't really see that much of the road. Across the street is this big beautiful hill, and it's covered in greenery and vines, and it just kind of glows in the sun. It's very, very pretty. You can also see over here on the left there are two HVAC systems. One of those is the new one I mentioned earlier, and it is only about a year old reportedly. Um, there was something else I was going to share about the property, but it's escaped me. Let me pause this for a second and think here. I cannot really remember what it was. There was a detail that had come to me that I was going to share about the property, and it's escaped me. But this property has a lot of potential. The interior is at a stage of renovation such that there's new HVAC, new ventilation, new lighting, um, a lot of um, all new insulation, all new sheetrock. The areas where the living room and the kitchen used to be separated, that wall has been removed to make it an open kitchen living room floor plan. The the island countertop in the kitchen has been removed again to open up floor space. I just love what he did with that. A lot of the old cabinets have been removed. The area where the kitchen plumbing fixtures all attached, the areas in the bathrooms where the plumbing fixtures all attached, the sheetrock is open in those areas because they were at a stage where they were about to have custom cabinetry done, have new fixtures for all of the sinks and toilets and showers and vanities and countertops. All those things were about to be slightly reconfigured. So those sections of the walls on the main level are open so that you can customize. Um, let's see, what else can I mention here? I'm just going to think for a second. The basement, I've talked about this in a lot of my other videos about the property and might have already mentioned it in this one, but the basement is very large. The ceilings are quite high. I think personally what I would do is immediately finish out the basement, replace the garage door with ceiling to floor windows, replace the basement residential door with a glass door to let in more light, enjoy the view of the backyard. Um, make the If you come down the stairs into the basement and point to the left wall, make that left wall section separate. Make it a laundry room, bathroom combo, full bath with a big glass wall shower. And then make the rest of the basement space a massive entertainment room. It also already has two windows down there. in addition to what could become the ceiling to floor windows where the garage door is located and the glass door where the typical residential door is located. That space down there is just awesome and could add so much to this home. And then eventually, if you got your septic permit upgraded, then you could put another wall downstairs and actually call it 2 additional bedrooms. So what is currently a 3 bedroom, 2 bath on the main level could maybe become a 5 bedroom, 3 full bath. So really cool potential there. Really love that about this property. Now, if you stayed towards the end of this video, hopefully you could have a little laugh because for the first time in many years, I crashed my drone. And so I figure I'll let you guys maybe share a laugh with me about that. I didn't feel like doing any video editing tonight. Had a really long, busy day. I got started around 6 a.m. It is now past midnight. So, however many hours of work that is that I've done today, running multiple small businesses, that's what I've done. But so last time I crashed a drone was maybe mm, 2018. So it's been a good run. I've made it 8 years without crashing a drone. So I was past due for crashing a drone. The drone's fine. I just need to replace one of the blades. Um, but anyway, it's kind of abrupt, and I hope you can have a little laugh. So let's just watch that one more time. So when you work too many hours and you're tired, one of the things you will do is accidentally press the button on the remote control to go backwards when you meant to go forwards. So anyway, I hope that you got to see this property from a little bit different perspective and that it helped you get to know the property a little bit better and that maybe you had a little laugh at the end. If you have any questions about this property, you can text me at 865-617-4783. Again, that's 865-617-4783. I would love to schedule a showing for you. If you want to see the interior of the property, you do need to schedule that by texting me. However, you are welcome and invited to go out to this property, hike the property lines, walk around the exterior of the home, peek in the windows. I currently have signage up on the front door and the back door where you can snap a picture of the signage. If you forget my phone number, you can take a picture of it. It's on that signage there. Um, it tells you where you can go to YouTube and find all the other videos that are informative about this property. It tells you a few other things. Of course, you can look up the address to the property on both Realtor.com and Zillow.com and thousands of other websites. Again, that address is 425 Ashe, that's ASHE, Cabin Hollow Road, Harriman, Tennessee 37748, in beautiful Roane County, just about 3 or 4 minutes from Kingston City Park on the lake. If you are not familiar with that area, it is absolutely gorgeous. It is a great access point to the waterway and many hiking trails along the waterway. This property is also about 5 to 6 minutes away from Caney Creek Boat Rental and Resort and Marina. It's also about a 2 minute drive away from Lowe's and Kroger and a whole bunch of other wonderful conveniences. So this is a really cool property with a lot of potential for doing additional construction, a lot of potential for immediately upgrading this home and increasing its value. So many things here. Privacy, beauty, awesome topography. So, um, just oh, another thing we would like to inform the public is to encourage you to make an offer. my seller understands that different buyers have different goals, and he is not the type of gentleman to be insulted by an offer. He wants to open up negotiations. He is a bit negotiable on price and would love to hear your offer and what your argument is for your offer. Why that's what you want to offer. Is that because you're trying to take more of an investor standpoint? Is that because it's a personal purchase? If you're not sure what type of lending you need to do a purchase of a property that's in this stage of renovation, just hit me up by text and I can send you a list of lenders to consult with to make sure that you're getting pre approved right out of the gate with a product that's not going to restrict you and with a product that's going to accommodate your goals. Maybe you want to encapsulate both the purchase of the property as is with the funding of the finish work for the property, or maybe you want to encapsulate in the installation of a luxury in-ground pool. Um, who knows, maybe an additional supplemental structure with a company like Summertown Metals Construction. So there's lots of different ways to go about this. I would love to help. Sorry for this end image. It's not, it's not very pretty. Let's just watch that crash landing one more time. I hope you have a great day and check back for the next video. I'll probably be capturing some more drone footage during the morning and also lunchtime over the coming days ahead. Have a great day. Again, this is Amber Nestor with TennesseeLandandHomestore.com, and until next time.